College basketball is back on the banks of Mossy Creek for the South Atlantic Conference Conference Carolinas Challenge as the UVA-wise Highland Cavaliers take on the Lees-McRae Bobcats. On the Eagle Sports Network, I'm Matt Scalzo. Delighted you could join me for the first of the games this weekend. The host varsity eliminates the game following the conclusion of this 166 opener, diving into tonight's matchup. First, looking at Lees-McRae, Deshaun Bockley makes his head coaching debut, and his first season at the helm of the Bobcats took over for longtime head coach Steve Hart, who resigned at the end of the year. There I am, shaking hands with Coach Bockley ahead of tonight's matchup. Such a pleasure to talk with him ahead of tonight's contest. Replaced, as I said, Steve Hart, who was the former head coach at Lees-McRae for the last 14 years, was the associate head coach under him for the last handful of years. As for UVA-wise, they are led by their star transfers in Yoro Diallo and Cam Roberts. There is Diallo. Both of them were small college Hall of Fame all-tournament players. When Wise kicked off its season 14 days ago down at Florida Southern, the Cavaliers went 1-1 in that trip down in Florida. We're set to get underway here from Holt Fieldhouse. The opening tip is won by Lees-McRae, and Dwight Kennedy kicks off the 2025 season with a bang for Lees-McRae. A beautiful setup as Evan Ramsey, the all-sack center for UVA-wise, won the opening tip. Couldn't have brought it up much better for Coach Motley as they try to throw it inside towards Ramsey, and it's knocked out of bounds. Looking at the starting lineups, Kennedy starts along with Isaiah DeBurgo, Gerald Maces, Chase McDuffie, and Justin Romeo are the five for Lees-McRae, and there's DeBurgo with the steal and a clear runway, but it is knocked away by Yoro Diallo, trailing behind the play to knock it out of bounds. Starting five for UVA-wise is the same five that they trotted out down in Florida. Kalen Lightford, Patrick Shelley, Yoro Diallo, Cam Roberts, and Evan Ramsey are the five for the Highland Cavaliers. And an over and back as there's a miscommunication between Maces and DeBurgo. Expect to see some miscues, a couple of turnovers early between these two teams. I'll look at the miscue there. Officiating crew tonight, Tony Wisnat is the head official. There is Archie Whaley and Samantha Galloway are the trio of officials for tonight's contest. It's set in his 35th year as an official, 30 years for Whaley. Galloway young in her career, 5 seasons as a basketball official. Diallo, and the game-winning bucket against Florida Southern goes in the lane, drop pass to Ramsey. He was fouled on the way up by Romeo. First of 2 shots, puts in the first. Ramsey 7 foot flat in his redshirt sophomore season out of Abingdon, Virginia. Preseason All-SAC member, second team All-SAC a year ago in his first season as a starter for the Highland Cavaliers. And he connects on both free throws. Knocked this up at 2. Early pressure from the Cavaliers, and it creates a turnover. Cam Roberts and Euro Diallo causing a trap in the corner. That prompts a early change. 49 seconds in for Deshaun Motley. Romeo checks out, and in comes freshman Ira Wilson. Shelley triggers the inbound, corralled by Roberts at the top of the key. Roberts, the transfer from the Citadel. Diallo with a quick trigger three. Drops it in, the transfer from Winthrop. A duo of D1 transfers that pinched the Highland Cavaliers early in the season. The key catalyst in its offense. Corner three on the way, and there's an answer from Chase McDuffie. There are going to be a lot of transfers that we're going to talk about through tonight's contest. As Diallo goes straight back into the lane, draws contact, and he will head to the line. Diallo, 24 points in 33 minutes of action back 13 days ago against Florida Southern. Had 12 rebounds, 5 assists, including the game-winning bucket with 3.1 seconds to go to knock off number 15 Florida Southern. And he hits the line, a 44% free throw shooter last season with Winthrop, and he played in a limited role across his first two seasons. And has joined Blake Mellinger and his UVA Wise team. He goes 2 for 2, and the Cavaliers are in front 7-5. Mason gets across to Kennedy. He'll draw contact against Taylor Lightford, one of 2 seniors on this UVA Y squad. Kennedy will in down to Mason. One of the plethora of transfers for this Lees-McRae team. McDuffie makes a baseline against Diallo, swatted away. Early action for Euro Diallo. Looking to go the length of the floor himself, and he does with a nice finger roll layup. 6'9", plenty of reach, and a tremendous amount of athletic ability from Euro Diallo. Ira Wilson, a nice slip pass to Ira Wilson. Forcing to Chase McDuffie for the finish. First career assist for Ira Wilson. Ramsey kicked out Diallo, another three that is well short. Roberts battles inside, gets the offensive rebound. Poked up, drops into Ramsey, and he lays it in. A physical bunch and a lengthy group is this Highland Cavaliers team as Roberts tips it out of bounds. When talking with head coach Blake Mellinger during the week, he discussed how this is a team that he feels has changed its identity with the additions of Roberts and Diallo. A lot of length, a lot of athleticism, and he feels that they can play a more physical brand of basketball and become a more paint-based team. There's a quick pull-up from Kennedy. Wrestles the shot as Diallo brings in the board. Shelley in transition, goes down low to Roberts on the block. And he dribbles it off the foot of Ira Wilson. Possession will stay with the Highland Cavaliers. Looking at that Diallo three, the Highland Cavaliers 1 for 2 beyond the arc, down in the small college Hall of Fame Classic. They were a combined 4 for 32 across its 2 contests. Trying to find more consistency, but okay with going in the lane. Roberts, and then a punch out by Ramsey. Shelley took too many steps and gets called for a travel. Wilson will have the inbound. Here comes Kennedy, transferred from USC Aiken. Mason is a transfer from Chattanooga State, but started his career at Lincoln Memorial. There's a pass out of bounds. Nigel Akwoko off the mark with the pass. Akwoko is the highest producing returners of the 7 that have come back for Lees-McRae from last year's team. There's a miss in tight. McDuffie in transition. Extra pass, Mace gets a man in the air. Nice pass up top. And the triple is off the mark from the Focal. As I talked about, 12 new faces for this Lees-McRae team. Diallo, down low, Ramsey. Puts it up, can't get it to go, but the follow is tipped in. Mace bobbles, the Focal loses it. Lightford snatches it away. Roberts rolling into the lane, puts out Shelley, puts up the 3 and puts it in. A pair of threes just over 4 minutes into tonight's contest. Blake Mellinger said he's not concerned. He knows that this team can make threes. As McDuffie looks for an answer. Roberts with a head of steam in transition. Spins into the lane and he drops it in. Early timeout taken by Coach Motley and Lees-McRae. A 9-0 run over the last 2 minutes and some change for UVA Wise. It's an early advantage for the Highland Cavaliers, and we will take our first break on the Eagle Sports Network. A look at head coach Blake Mellinger on this UVA Wise, or at the helm of this UVA Wise team. He's in his 13th season at the helm, and always special for him to return to Holt Fieldhouse. His grandfather Arnold played at Carson-Newman from 1954 to 1957, and is the only player to have his jersey retired inside Holt Fieldhouse. His number 30 hangs in the rafters. UVA Wise baskets end in this first half. As there's a miss coming off the bench, Daniel Agu can't connect as a couple of subs have come in for UVA Wise. Collier Pruitt's with the ball, as has freshman Cy Hardy. As Diallo goes down the lane, foul is called. Caden Giles has also come in, and he will draw the foul. There he is, a couple of freshmen that Mellinger really loves what he has, and the potential of them both off the charts. Giles, a freshman out of Fort Mill, South Carolina. Misses on his first career free throw attempt. Giles produced 12 points in 12 minutes in the 93-91 win over number 15 Florida Southern. And the Cavaliers' last contest 13 days ago. And he splits the 2 shots to push the advantage to 12. A 10-0 run for UVA Wise. And there is an answer as Cedric Patterson rattles in a triple. Gets Lees-McRae back on the board. Diallo down the lane, the follow by Giles won't go. Focal has the rebound. With a head of steam, barrels inside, and he'll draw contact. Foul against Giles is called. Focal is a 68% free throw shooter last season. Misses on the first. Gavin Bullock comes in. He replaces Jarl Mason. Bullock, along with Aboko and Isaiah DeBurgo, Conference Carolinas players to watch. Aboko misses on both of those. Cy Hardy into the contest. Dynamic scorer in high school. Uses the screen from Giles. Kicks into the corner. Shelley down the baseline and uses the window. As the advantage pushes back up to double digits, the Corporal runs the floor. A long stretch pass ahead. Brett Randleman is coming as well. Bullock. Hand off to Patterson. Down to 10 to shoot. Into the corner. Another pump fake from Patterson. Page on a 15-footer. And is well off the mark. Rebound is scooped up by Euro Diallo. Into the corner. Pruitt a three. Is it in? And Collier Pruitt knocks in the third triple of the evening for UVA Wise. A 3-and-D player. Bullock looking for an answer. Comes up short and a strong box out from Caden Giles. Erases any opportunity of Lees-McRae getting an offensive rebound. Anderson Cummins has checked into the contest. Cam Roberts also returns. And Euro Diallo didn't know he was coming out of the game. He was all set to go. In the form jacket from UVA Wise. Lees-McRae a man-to-man. And Roberts on the baseline. Nice poke away by Bullock. DeBurgo. Drop past Patterson. Double clutches and finishes through contact on the protect from Anderson Cummins. Patterson with a nice burst off the bench for the Bobcats. And foul is called down low against Daniel Aguirre. Against Caden Giles. Justin Bermeo coming towards the scores table, and he will check in place of Aguirre. Early 12-point advantage for the Highland Cavaliers. They are 5 of their last 6 from the floor. Tipped away, DeBurgo to steal. Patterson with nobody in sight. 7 points to Cedric Patterson off the bench in just 3 minutes of action. What a burst he has been off the bench. Hardy stepped back through, but an offensive foul is called during this game. And some momentum starting to build for the Bobcats. Their way past this 3-1-1 press. And it really ramps up around three-quarters court from UVA Wise. Come up at the half court. Bullock as the pass deflected by Hardy. Cummins climbs the ladder to scoop up the loose jump. Looking inside for Giles, who battles with Bermeo. Cummins with 14 to shoot. Pull-up jumper from the free throw line is true. Anderson Cummins has his first points of the night. All-SAC freshman team player a year ago, looking to take that step forward, and he forces a steal. Pruitt up ahead. A reverse layup is off the mark, loses himself in the air. As here comes Lees-McRae with numbers. DeBurgo into the lane, and he draws a foul. As we hit our under 12 media timeout with 11:41 left to go. Still a 12-point lead for UVA Wise, but the Bobcats will be going to the line when we come back on the Eagles Sports Network. inside Holt Fieldhouse. Deshaun Motley in his first season at the helm of this Lees-McRae squad. There's Blake Mellinger on the UVA-Y side. Both pushed into coaching by people in their family. As Isaiah DeBurgo goes to the line. Shooting two. And he puts in the first. Motley said it was his coach that he was influenced by. He's been a head coach at the high school level since he was born. Been nice to see the impact he's had on players, and he hopes that he can have the same impact and help some guys win some basketball games along the way. It's really about making some change and being there for people, helping them have success on and off the court. As for Mellinger, Arnold, his grandfather, has a huge retired here at Holt Fieldhouse. Says it's meaningful for him to always come back here because of what a mentor he was. Mellinger in his career. Bobcats trying to lead down to 10 as the goes 2 for 2. Cummings, footed runner in the lane. Anderson turns, finding fire quickly inside Holt Fieldhouse. DeBurgo down the lane, goes back by He has his pocket picked by Cy Hardy with a head of steam. He has upward on Mason going down the lane. We're back here on the Eagles Sports Network. Apologies if there was any issues there. 28-16, the lead for UVA-Y's as Roberts misses, and that is controlled out of bounds. $10:53 left to go in the opening half between Lees-McRae and UVA-Y's in the South Atlantic Conference versus Conference Carolina's Challenge. DeBurgo down the lane, and the ready scoop layup is good. And the lead comes back down to 10. Drive up the lane, and a foul is called as Diallo charges in. Euro Diallo heads to the line. Star transfer from Winthrop, who has been such a big boost up into this Wise lineup. As a plethora of changes coming in, Patrick Shelley and Kalen Lightford return as Cam Roberts and Anderson Cummins head to the bench. Also checking in is Hensley Ward, one of the many forwards that Blake Mellinger rolls in his lineup. Diallo misses the second half. It's poked out. Second chance points. Those have been a killer tonight for Lees-McRae, as there's a tight finish inside, and Wise builds on its lead, leading by 13. Lees-McRae has seen a burst off the bench from number 1 in black, Cedric Patterson. Romeo charging down the lane against the big Evan Ramsey. Follow-up attempt won't go. Romeo grabs the offensive board as the Bobcats lose the handle, and it goes out of bounds. So tough to score against Evan Ramsey. 7 foot flat. The redshirt sophomore, preseason all-SAC, and a second-team all-SAC player last season. Challenges everybody that tries to meet him at the rim. As Hensley Ward will have the inbound. And bringing it across half court at the controls is Kalen Lightford. Shelley, a spot-up triple from the right wing. Off the mark. Hensley Ward grabs the board, but he can't control himself as he comes back down. Travels as we cross under the 10-minute mark in this first half. (31-18), the advantage for UVA-Y's. out of bounds, and another turnover for Lees-McRae. UVA Wise got off to such a hot start offensively, and they've only built on their lead as this one has moved along. Ward finds Diallo in the corner. Diallo's pass off the mark, looking for Langford, and it is a turnover for UVA Wise. Bobcats trying to find something to get going offensively. When talking with Coach Motley during the week, he mentioned to me how they're trying to play fast, put people into space, and move the ball as much as possible. They have found a bit more of an offensive rhythm as of late through Cedric Patterson off the bench, the redshirt junior. Just played in 2 games last season, but came over from Johnson C. Smith over in Charlotte out of the CIAA. Was a strong scorer there, averaging just under 8 points per game in his last season. Has found 7 points off the bench here, and an offensive foul is called as Bermeo called for an offensive foul. Ira Wilson will check in as Deshaun Motley and his crew realizing their starting center. Got 2 fouls at the halfway point of this first half. Lightford at the controls of this Wise offense. Ward, straightaway 3, rattles in and out, tapped back by Ramsey, and he draws a foul. You just see what struggle it is trying to guard the big 7-footer in Evan Ramsey. Gets inside position, and that's all she wrote as he'll head to the line for 2 shots. Or actually, it'll be a 1-and-1. I believe they called it on the floor. As he doesn't get the roll. And outlet it up ahead to Macy's. Runner, and a teardrop won't go. Gets his own rebound back, but it is poked away by Ward. And here comes Diallo with a head of steam for the Highland Cavaliers. A scoop layup with the right hand, the follow by Ramsey is whistled for a foul. Gets called for a push. First personal against Evan Ramsey. Press is broken by the Bobcats as Akwokle nearly travels. Patterson down the lane, drop pass to Akwokle. Tries to go for the acrobatic finish. He was contested by Ramsey. Wilson grabs the rebound. Thought about the 3. Up top, McDuffie goes down the lane with the left. And a strong finish. Outstretching his arm out of the reach of the long Evan Ramsey as McDuffie gets back into the scoring book. Ramsey in the lane, the lefty scoop, gets his own board back. And he travels. As we hit the under 8 media timeout, 31-20, the lead for Lees-McRae over UVA Wise here in the South Atlantic Conference versus Conference Carolinas Challenge. Game 1 of 2 tonight as basketball returns to the banks of Mossy Creek. Back after this on the Eagle Sports Network. back inside Holt Fieldhouse. With 7:51 left to go in the first half. A 31-20 advantage for UVA Wise over Lees-McRae. First game of the season for Lees-McRae, third of the year for UVA Wise. It has been 13 days since the Highland Cavaliers last played. They kicked off their season at the Small College Hall of Fame Classic, headlined by some top players in the country: Washburn, Damon, Florida Southern, Lubbock Christian. Highland Cavaliers drew a tough draw facing Lubbock Christian, got punched in the mouth with a big-time loss, responded knocking off the number 15 team in the country. They built a big lead, but Lees-McRae battling back, and the lead has been trimmed to 9. Strong bucket from Dwight Kennedy. Max Lidman has checked into the contest, number 21 in white. Cummins contested, and he was off balance and draws a foul. Another look at it there as charging in was McDuffie. Caught Cummins up high, and he will go to line for a 1-and-1. Cummins with 4 points in this first half. And he puts in the first. And his sophomore season out of Ontario, Cummins to average 8 points per game as a freshman. Shot 67% from the line, and he converts on both of those. Collier Pruitt checks in. He'll take out Cummins as the Cavaliers build their lead back up to 11. Although the Cavaliers have not hit a field goal in over 3 minutes' time. Patterson off the screen, drops it back to Wilson, gets Lidman up in the air, and a beautiful step through from the freshman Ira Wilson, his first career bucket. Wise weaving around the top of the arc. Shelley, a three from the right wing. It's pure. 4 for 7 from beyond the arc for UVA Wise. They were 4 for 32 through their 2 games in Florida. They have certainly shaken off the rust on the deep tries. Wilson in the lane is cut off. McDuffie working against Roberts. Pull up from the elbow, off the mark. And Roberts plucks in the rebound. Pruitt's pass to Roberts is off the mark, and it goes out of bounds. Lightford will come in. He replaces Cy Hardy. McDuffie comes out, and in comes Brent Randleman. As Lees-McRae looks to keep this within arm's length. Went blow for blow early with Wise, and then the Cavaliers erupted on a 12-0 run. There's a runner from Kennedy in the lane, comes up just short. Lidman corrals the loose ball. In transition, Shelley wants another, and it comes up just short. Motley asking for his crew to push the pace. Patterson too strong on the floater down the lane. Here comes Cam Roberts with a head of steam, the transfer from the Citadel. Lightford thought about the three. Opts to drive in, a kick out to Roberts. Back up top, Lightford. There's another triple for the Highland Cavaliers. Lead has grown to 15, and a poor pass in transition from Kennedy. And with 5:08 to go in the first half, it is up to a 15-point advantage for Lees-McRae. A 6-0 run over the last 90 seconds. The largest lead of the night so far for the Highland Cavaliers. As Kennedy meets Lightford as he comes across half court. Lidman will spot up a triple, and why not? They're all falling. 6 for 10 from beyond the arc for UVA Wise. Blake Mellinger, the head coach at Wise, told me he wasn't concerned about the three-point woes. Not overly concerned, understanding, hey, rust early in the season. They'll start falling. We made 10 threes in one of our scrimmage. They got 6 in the first half alone tonight. Shelley from the right wing. It swings around to Collier-Pruitt. Cuts in a lane, a kick out Roberts. Loses his man, step back three on the way. Comes up short, offensive rebound for Shelley. The lead is up to 20, and Deshaun Motley saw that lead get trimmed down to 9. It has blossomed up to 20 on an 11-0 run from UVA Wise over the last 2 minutes and some change. It'll be a 30-second timeout. With 4:11 left to go. This actually serve as the media timeout, so we will step aside with 4:11 left to go. Highland Cavaliers high flying inside Holt Fieldhouse, raining in the triples, leading by 20 on the Eagles Sports Network. What a difference 12 days makes for UVA Wise since their last contest against Florida Southern. They've taken the lid off on the three ball, 6 for 11 in this first half. Matt Scalzo with you on the Eagles Sports Network. A 20-point advantage for UVA Wise in the first half over Lees-McRae in game 1 of 4 in the South Atlantic Conference versus Conference Carolinas Challenge. Patrick Shelley, he's got 12 points in this first half, had 7 across 2 games against Lubbock Christian and Florida Southern, 2 of the tougher teams in the country, but he has found his groove. One of 2 seniors on this Wise team, expected to be one of the leaders, as Agu goes in a lane, barrels against Max Lidman, and stops an 11-0 run from UVA Wise. But now it's on the defensive side. They got to find an answer. Lightford comes up short on his three-point try. Some more changes for Deshaun Motley and his staff as Brett Randleman charges down the lane in his return to the floor. Did not play last season due to an injury with Lees-McRae. Had transferred in from Conference Carolinas foe Mount Olive ahead of last season. Lidman, corner 3 on the way. Count it. 47 points in the first half. 7 threes from UVA Wise. And a trio of subs head to the scorer's table in Evan Ramsey, Anderson Cummins, and Euro Diallo. They will come in as Gavin Bullock is called for an offensive foul against Kalen Lightford. Some of the other changes that have checked in for Lees-McRae is Sean Standifer, the freshman out of West Palm Beach, number 10 in black. Gavin Bullock, Daniel Agu, Randleman, and Kennedy, the 5 for Lees-McRae. Diallo, Ramsey, and Cummins join the floor with Pruitt and Shelley. A turnover, and here comes Agu in transition. He'll go right at Ramsey, and he draws a foul against the big 7-footer. Second personal foul against Evan Ramsey, and something to keep an eye on are the fouls that have been charged against this forward group from Wise, Virginia. 3 fouls against the freshman forward Caden Giles. That's 2 now against Ramsey. As Agu hits on the first free throw, and right on cue, Ramsey heads to the bench, and Max Lidman returns to the floor. Lidman's got 6 points. He's 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. Sophomore out of Stockholm, Sweden. And Agu goes 2 for 2. One of 12 new faces for Deshaun Motley and Lees-McRae. Transferred from Ellsworth Community College out in Iowa. Shelley closed off by Kennedy. Skip over to Cummins. And a foul is called on the floor. That'll go against Bullock. Second personal against Gavin Bullock, and Anderson Cummins will head to the line for 2 shots. 10th team foul against Lees-McRae in this first half. Checking in comes Caden Kerger, redshirt freshman for Lees-McRae. Did not play last season with the Bobcats. As Cummins converts on both free throws. And he's got 8 points in the opening half. 49 for the Highland Cavaliers. The lead has blossomed back up to 19. Agu, a nice move. Pruitt meets him at the summit, but it'll be 2 points for a goaltend against Pruitt. I believe they got him on his hand coming up through the basket. We'll get another look at it here. And that's exactly what it was. Cummins loses it on the poke out by Randleman. Race for the loose ball, and possession will stay with UVA Wise. Into the final 2 minutes of this first half between the Highland Cavaliers and the Bobcats. Day 1 in the SAC vs. Conference Carolinas Challenge. Tight finish for Cummins. He comes up empty. Standifer down the lane, and he draws a foul against Anderson Cummins. Lees-McRae has trailed by as many as 20 in this half. They led briefly in the opening minute. There's the look at Cummins fouling Standifer on his drive down the lane. As the freshman looks for his first career points. And he will get it as he knocks in the first half of this 1-1. Shots the rest of the way on any foul call. And Standifer knocks in both. Heading into the halftime locker room in these final 90 seconds, trying to find a stop in any way possible for Lees-McRae to continue to cut into this deficit. Diallo. Closed off by Standifer, dumps it down low. Roberts in the lane, the hoop and the harm, and he will head to the line looking to complete the three-point play. Foul will be called against Brent Randleman. Nice footwork from the transfer from the Citadel. Him and Diallo, the two-star D1 transfers. He misses that free throw. Roberts has stuffed the stat sheet so far. 4 points, 4 boards, 3 assists as well as that pass goes off the fingertips of Kerger. That's a 51-34 lead. Wise looking to add on to it. Blake Mellinger has said that Roberts and Diallo have really changed the complexion of this team and how they've played. Become a more paint-based team and such dynamic players with what they bring to the table, especially the offensive firepower, as Roberts can't connect with Patrick Shelley on the backdoor cut. Daniel Agu returns to the floor, along with Cedric Patterson. Patterson down the lane, but he won't get a chance to let that little runner go. Agu called for an offensive foul. Ira Wilson will check back in. He replaces Agu, who picked up his third personal foul. And you see a look at that moving screen. Back on the offensive end for Wise. Looking at a potential 2-for-1. Comes over to Shelley. They won't get a 2-for-1, but they go inside. They can't finish, and it's tapped out. Shot clock is dark as Patterson lobs it up ahead to Kennedy, and it settles with Patterson at the controls right by that midcourt stripe, shadowed by Anderson Cummins. With 10 to shoot, Patterson drives in, spins back, tries to step through a double team, and an acrobatic finish. Count the bucket. Scintillating moves from Cedric Patterson. He's got 9 first-half points. And they'll head to the line with 6.7 seconds to go in this first half. Patterson completes the three-point play. Okwoko will come back in. He replaces Patterson. Leading scorer for Lees-McRae into double figures with 10 points. The lead is at a 14-point advantage for UVA Wise. They will burn one of their timeouts, putting them to 3 left to go. With 6.7 seconds to go, trying to draw up a play in the closing moments of this first half. And you might think, well, it's not a lot of time to really work with. It's a good bit. You can definitely get a shot off, but especially with the athleticism on the floor for UVA Wise, they can get all the way 94 feet in just seconds. And they did that to get the win over number 15 Florida Southern 13 days ago in their second game of the season to knock off the 15th ranked team. With 7.8 seconds left to go, Yoro Diallo went the length of the floor and scored with 3.1 seconds left. For those along at home, quick math for you, that's 4.7 seconds. Who else do they go to but Yoro Diallo right down the lane? Wouldn't you know it? 5.5 seconds. Yoro Diallo goes the length of the floor, finishes at the cup. And he has some words for the Lees-McRae bench as he will head into the locker room with a 53-37 advantage over Lees-McRae in Game 1 of the SAC vs. Conference Carolinas Challenge. Diallo finishing with 10 points. Shelley's got 12 to lead all scorers, and Cedric Patterson's got 10 for the Bobcats. 15 minutes up on the clock. We will head into halftime here on the Eagle Sports Network. Back after this. 20 minutes down, 20 minutes to go inside Holt Fieldhouse in Game 1 of the SAC vs. Conference Carolinas Challenge. And weekend number 1 of the 25-26 season, or at least weekend number 2 if you're UVA wise, after they kicked off the season down in Florida in the Small College Hall of Fame Classic. Deshaun Motley and Lees-McRae trying to dig themselves out of this 16-point disadvantage in his first career game as a head coach after replacing Steve Harden, who was at the helm of Lees-McRae for 14 seasons. He saw him as a mentor, and he's really helped him along in the process, but changing some things from one regime to the next. As for Blake Mellinger and his squad, 53 points in that first half. They shot 53% from the floor, 54% from beyond the arc. They are 7 for 13 from deep down in Florida across 2 games. They were just 4 for 32 in their 2 games against Lubbock Christian and Florida Southern. Working with the lead coming out of halftime for the first time this season. Faced major holes against Lubbock Christian and Florida Southern, trailing by double digits in both contests. They came from behind to knock off the number 15 team in Florida Southern. Now they try to ease their way out of this one and improve to 2-1 on the season before Carson-Newman opens up its 2025-26 season against King in the nightcap of day 1 in this conference crossover. And we are underway in half number 2. Starters back out for both sides. Kalen Lightford, Euro Diallo, Cam Roberts, Patrick Shelley, who's got the ball and leads all scorers with 12 points, and Evan Ramsey on the floor for the Highland Cavaliers. McDuffie, Mason, Stabergo, Brameo, and Kennedy, the 5 for Lees-McRae. As a miss, and here comes the Bobcats in transition. Shelley with the steal. Shelley up ahead. Slows. Diallo, kick out 3. He rattles it in, and Euro Diallo's got 13 points. He now leads all scorers in tonight's contest. Mason's down the lane. Drop off Brameo. And nice pass. And a finish on the other end for Lees-McRae to get their scoring started in the second half. Diallo went the length of the floor in just over 5 seconds to close out half number 1. He opens half number 2 with that 3. And you can see what a focal point he is of this offense. He loses his footing there. Kennedy comes the other way. And no goaltending is called on the contest from Patrick Shelley. Deshaun Motley pleading his case as the Highland Cavaliers come back out on the offensive end. Shelley down the lane, swatted away by Brameo. Maces drops it off Kennedy, and Diallo says no. Shelley with the 3, off the mark. Offensive rebound for Ramsey, and he's fouled by McDuffie. Big Evan Ramsey hauls in his 5th rebound. And there's a look by Diallo, the chase down block. Second time we've seen that tonight from the junior out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Ramsey puts in the first free throw. Another look at the foul on McDuffie, catching him on the arm. And Ramsey goes 2 for 2. Now up to 8 points on the night with 5 rebounds. Maces, dangerous pass, a corner 3 on the other end from Kennedy. Won't go. And it goes out of bounds. Last touched by Lees-McRae, to the disapproval of this Bobcat coaching staff and fans that have made the trip from North Carolina. It is the 6th installment of this Sac vs. Conference Carolina Challenge. And these 4 teams that are here this weekend have faced off all 6 times against one another, as Evan Ramsey making his presence felt early in the second half. Backdoor feed down the lane, and a travel is called against McDuffie. Largest lead of the night for UVA Wise at 21 points. They have stormed ahead, a 7-2 advantage over the last 2.5 minutes. All time, Lees-McRae 4-1 against UVA Wise. They won last year's meeting 87-82, but with all the changes that have come in, knew this was going to be a tall task as Ramsey continues to be too much to handle for Justin Bermeo. And this front court of Lees-McRae. Substitutions coming in. Standifer and Patterson return as McDuffie and Kennedy head to the bench. This Lees-McRae team was picked to finish 9th in the Conference Carolinas poll as DeBurgo heads in the lane. One of the players to watch this season, and you see there with that 15-footer turnaround. Lightford into the lane. And a kick out to Ramsey. Comes to Diallo. Snatches one by. Drop pass to Ramsey. Poked away by DeBurgo. Mace slaps it along. DeBurgo in the lane. Draws a foul. When talking with Coach Motley ahead of tonight's contest and talking about that preseason ranking and talking about his players like DeBurgo, says he always believes in a player-led locker room being a winning locker room. So if we can get guys to buy into what the coaches are talking about, I feel like we have a good opportunity to be pretty good. And that starts with his leaders that have come back, DeBurgo, Bullock, and Okwokol. As DeBurgo knocks in the first free throw. He's up to 6 points on the night. Make it 7. And when talking about the preseason ranking, like most coaches, he doesn't put too much weight into it, but when you're ranked low, he says you can use it as motivation. If you don't like the number that people gave you, how about we do something about it and change it? Trying to change that 19-point deficit as Ramsey misses on the triple. DeBurgo another board. Goes to the corner. Patterson rises up. And it won't go. And a foul is called on the floor as Patterson muscles in to get a second chance. As we hit the under 16 media timeout. Another look at it there. Patterson drawing the foul against Diallo. Second chance opportunity upcoming for Lees-McRae on the other side of this timeout on the Eagle Sports Network. Deshaun Motley in his first season and his first game as the head coach at Lees-McRae, trying to rally the troops with just under 16 minutes to go in the second half in day 1 of this Sac vs. Conference Carolinas Challenge. Day 2 tomorrow, they are set for the 3 p.m. matchup against the host Carson-Newman, who take on King later tonight, and then Wise will face King tomorrow at 1 p.m. and the final day of this conference crossover event. DeBurgo continues to produce. Starting to get the hot hand going. A nice turnaround in the lane. Brings the deficit down to 17. And now it's putting the clamps on defensively as Caden Giles has come back in. Cy Hardy also returns along with Collier Pruitt. Kicked out Hardy, the three. Collier Pruitt climbs the ladder and parachutes in for an offensive rebound. Now he spots up for a triple, goes long, and a one-handed pluck by Gerald Macy's. Macy's was a highly talented recruit coming out of high school. Played his high school ball in Tennessee. He's a native of the Dominican Republic as Standifer draws a foul against Giles. That is his fourth personal foul with just over 15 minutes to go. Max Lidman will be headed to the bench or to the scorer's table, checking in as Giles is up to 4 fouls, and he will check out. I'm talking with Coach Mellinger. He feels really confident about these freshmen in Giles and in Hardy, but he knows they're freshmen. There's going to be good days. There's going to be bad days. Good day for Giles was 12 points in 12 minutes against Florida Southern. Bad night tonight. 4 fouls in 4 minutes of game time. With 10 to shoot, DeBurgo takes a screen. And the pass back in is intercepted by Hardy. 2-on-1 with Diallo. The lob. And a foul is called by Macy's, who tried to undercut the pass. Thought we were going to see Euro Diallo cleared for takeoff. And this transition opportunity. Cavaliers haven't scored in over 2 minutes. Shelley triggers the inbound. And the pass is taken away. DeBurgo. Slip pass and the finish at the summit from Standifer. And some energy building back into this Lees-McRae squad. A two-handed flush from Standifer. Shelley, the pull-up from the elbow. It's short, tapped out into the hands of Patterson. 2-on-2. Patterson attacks, and Patterson finishes. A 10-0 run from Lees-McRae, and they've cut this lead down to 13. Timeout taken by Blake Mellinger and UVA Wise. Defense leading to offense. And the juice play from Standifer on the dunk, Patterson on the other end. This has been a different team in the second half from Lees-McRae. I say second half, a different team over the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Have just completely flipped this game on its head on a 10-0 run, building momentum. And this UVA-wise offense that dropped 53 points in the first half has turned stagnant as the pressure ramps up from this Bobcats team. This will also serve as the media timeout, so we will take an abbreviated break here on the Eagles Sports Network. I suppose I probably should have just kept talking at that point. Just a little 30 seconds for me to get some water. Matt Scalzo with you on the Eagles Sports Network. 62-49, the lead for UVA Wise over Lees-McRae. In game 1 of 4 this weekend inside Holt Fieldhouse for the South Atlantic Conference versus Conference Carolinas Challenge. 10-0 run for the Bobcats. Blake Mellinger and UVA Wise coming out of the timeout trying to find an answer. They go baseline with Shelley, and he finishes through contact. Count the foul as well. He was looking for a ferocious one-handed hammer. Another look at it. And looking at the replay is this Lees-McRae staff is pleading for a case for an offensive goaltend, and based on the replay, they have a reason to be upset. Shelley lost the ball on the way up, and he grabbed the rim before the ball came down, and that's a tiny ball don't lie moment as Shelley misses and can't complete the three-point play. Standifer in transition. He needed a different club. Comes up too strong. So trying to settle back in and put the clamps on is Lees-McRae. Hardy finds Diallo. He tacks down the lane and draws a foul against Randleman. He's just so quick when he gets going downhill, is Euro Diallo. Blake Mellinger, when talking with him during the week, he says we've not had two players like them in the past. Him, when speaking of Diallo and Roberts, they've changed us in terms of how we're trying to play with our size and length, but the versatility and the offensive firepower that they give us. Free throws continue to be a little bit of a struggle point for Diallo. In his last season at Winthrop, he was 8 for 18 and is at the line in his limited playing time he got. He splits the two tries and gets up to 14 points to match Patrick Shelley for a game high. DeBurgo splits through a double team, tries to get down the lane, can't finish in close. The follow from Standifer, and he gets the bucket along with a foul. He'll head the line looking to complete a three-point play. How about Sean Standifer, the freshman out of West Palm Beach, Florida? Making his presence felt in his Bobcat debut. Evan Ramsey heads to the scorer's table, getting ready to come in at the next whistle. And he will come in this very moment. Max Lidman checks out. Something to watch is the fouls against this forward group. 4 Wise. Caden Giles, the backup center to Evan Ramsey. He's got 4 personals. He won't be coming in too much unless needed as Standifer completes the three-point play. As for Ramsey, he has 2 personal fouls, and he went to the bench towards the tail end of that second half. The lead was as big as 23 for UVA Wise. It has dwindled down to 13. Roberts inside for Ramsey, and a foul is called on the floor. Brent Randleman trying to swoop in from the back to tip it away on the lob inside. A foul was called on the floor against Justin Bermeo. Shelley on the inbound, and it's a one-hand lob out to Diallo. Roberts has his pocket picked by Patterson, charging in for the steal. Here comes DeBurgo with a head of steam. Down the lane, up with the right hand, and it's off the fingertips of Agu for the offensive rebound. Here comes Hardy to Roberts. Cam Roberts cleared for takeoff. He puts it down on a one-handed flush. And a timeout taken by Lees-McRae and Cedric Patterson as he saw there was nowhere to go and felt wasn't in a position to get across half court. And there's the athleticism of Cam Roberts. Transfer out of the Citadel. Had 28 points in the win over Florida Southern last time out. And it will be a full timeout taken by Lees-McRae with 12:43 left to go in the second half. We'll take a timeout with them on the Eagles Sports Network. .43 left to go in the second half. UVA Wise with a 15-point advantage over Lees-McRae in day 1 of the SAC vs. Conference Carolinas Challenge. the 6th installment of it. These 4 teams, Lees-McRae, UVA Wise, King, and Carson-Newman, have met every year since 2019, except for the 2020-21 season due to the COVID-19 pandemic. As Standifer goes down the lane, and he'll draw a foul against Evan Ramsey. Circle that one in the book. That is third personal against number 33 in white. And those fouls against the forwards continue to cause problems. As Standifer adjusting in the air, goes the line for 2 shots, and he puts in the first. 8 points off the bench for Sean Standifer. Patrick Shelley checks out as Kalen Lightford comes back in. Anderson Cummins is also on the floor, along with Ramsey, Roberts, and Diallo. And here's been this pivotal point for Lees-McRae. They've gotten the lead down to 13 on multiple occasions, but they haven't been able to get it back into single digits. Can they get a stop here? Kick out Cummins with the 3. Too strong, and Standifer climbs in, loses the ball, and Cummins is there. Johnny on the spot. Dishes it off to Roberts, up with the right hand. Acrobatic scoop layup by Roberts. Running the floor, McDuffie on the other end. He has the answer. Action packed on either end of the floor. And in a matter of seconds, it's back down to a 13-point lead. Looking for another stop. They had gotten it, but couldn't control the rebound. And second chance points continue to be an issue. Lightford turned away by Randleman. Patterson. Tough jumper for Cummins from the free throw stripe. Standifer with the board. Kick out Randleman. Transition 3. In and out. It was halfway down and then ejects out of the bucket. Roberts with a head of steam. And he gets called for an offensive foul. Disbelief from Roberts. And livid on the sideline is Blake Mellinger. As the call comes in from Archie Whaley. I can see it go either way. Standifer was moving a little bit before the end of that charge. But either way, it is called for an offensive foul. And Lees-McRae gets their stop. And one that can build momentum. It's those types of play that can really put some wind back into your sails as we head to the under 12 media timeout with 11:15 to go. It's a 13-point advantage for UVA Wise on the Eagles Sports Network. $11:15 to go in the second half. UVA Wise with a 13-point advantage over Lees-McRae in game 1 of 4 in the SAC vs. Conference Carolinas Challenge. Matt Scalzo with you on the Eagles Sports Network. Talked about three-point shooting a whole lot in the first half. Wise was 7 of 13 coming into this half from beyond the arc. They are 8 for 20 now after a 1 for 7 start to this second half. Lees-McRae 0 for 4 from beyond the arc. But the Bobcats stirring some momentum, and a foul is called by Diallo. Gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar. And fouls continuing to mount up. That's the third personal against Diallo. Him and Evan Ramsey, 2 key starters for Blake Mellinger in this team. As now we're having some issues here in terms of the fouls. On the scoreboards, it says 5 on the scoreboard, but per the live stats, which are correct, there has been 7 in this half. There's a look at Adam Cavalier, my boss, who will be on play-by-play tonight for Carson-Newman versus King, along with Rayanna DeCrow in charge of stats, and I would not want to challenge Cav in anything in terms of how a game has gone along. So Standifer will head to the line for a 1-and-1. He's got 9 points in 10 minutes of action for the freshman. And he puts in the first. Blake Mellinger was upset because the scoreboard said 5 fouls. Always trust the live stats more than the scoreboard. That is what I have learned in my time as a broadcaster. So the lead has been cut down to 11. It was as big as 23 with 17 minutes to go in the second half. But it has been a turning point here as Lees-McRae is slowly cut into this deficit. And a foul called down low against Chase McDuffie guarding Cam Roberts in the block. That is the 6th team foul against Lees-McRae. So shots the rest of the way on the next foul against the Bobcats. As Roberts barrels inside, and he travels before he's able to dish it off to the high-flying Evan Ramsey. And the Bobcats get another stop. Trying to bring it down to a single-digit deficit. Just over halfway to go in this contest. Agu into the lane. Comes out Patterson, spots up the 3. There it is. A 3-pointer from Patterson, and it's down to an 8-point lead for UVA Wise. Roberts draws a foul in the lane. Shot clock goes off. It was on the floor. Actually, they'll say the basket counts. There's a look at that 3 from Cedric Patterson. That is an and one, as they'll call it. Foul is called against Standifer as Roberts completes the 3-point play, and lead goes back up to 11. Roberts will check out as Patrick Shelley comes back in. How about Cedric Patterson? 15 points, 6 for 9 from the floor, 2 for 3 from beyond the arc in 18 minutes. He's come off the bench and has quickly jolted himself into the engineer of this offense. At the controls once more. Fades away at the 15-footer on the elbow, and it drops in after hitting off the front rim. We've got ourselves a ball game here, folks. Lead was as big as 23 for Wise with 17 minutes to go. Dangerous pass from Pruitt, and Patterson is called for a foul as he tries to jump the pass. Patterson called for his first personal foul. 1-and-1 the rest of the way for UVA Wise. On any foul call, both teams will go to the line. Lees-McRae already in the bonus. Wise now enters into it as DeBurgo comes in place of Randleman. And I believe our crowd mic picked it up, the conversation between DeBurgo and head coach Deshaun Motley before checking in. Being smart. Knows every time that whistle blows, they will be going to the line. As there's now been
A little bit of an issue going on here with the scoreboard in terms of fouls. Trying to get that all fixed up. 7 personal fouls against UVA Wise, and now 8 against Lees-McRae. Now they've got it all squared away. See a look at that Mellinger jersey. That is Blake Mellinger's grandfather, Arnold. A lone jersey to be retired inside Holt Fieldhouse. Played here from 1954 to 57 for the Eagles. 6th all-time leading scorer. And there is Mellinger. And Shelley knocks in both free throws. Pushes the lead back up to 11, 74 to 63. And at least that's what the scoreboard says. And live stats in our scorebug says 62 as Patterson reins in another 3. And now the question becomes, which is the correct score? And we got it now, 74 to 66. Diallo looking for an answer, drops it down low. Ramsey, and he's fouled by Agu. Evan Ramsey will go to the line as the lead has been brought down to 8. See a nice spin from Diallo, and then DeBurgo and Agu have to challenge Ramsey, who is all alone. Ramsey gets the roll on his first free throw. He's up to 13 points with 6 rebounds. And that drops in as well. This has been teetering between an 8-point game and a 10-point game for about the last 3 minutes of game time. Agu in a lane for Standifer, and a dangerous pass, but the Bobcats get rewarded. A foul is called on the floor, sending Standifer to the line for a 1-and-1. And he hits the first one. And that foul called against Patrick Shelley. And he misses the second half of it. So it stays at a 9-point lead, 76 to 67. This paint-based team in UVA Wise likely going back to it as Shelley comes inside the arc. He's forced away. Diallo with 10 to shoot. Dribble drive into the lane. And a foul is called as he loses the ball on the way up. A hold is called against McDuffie for a hold with 5 seconds on the shot clock. Cam Roberts and Anderson Cummins raring to go right at the scorer's table. There's a look at it. I thought from my vantage point initially there was a foul, and that is what the foul is called. Fans screaming that it was a travel. 4 fouls against Chase McDuffie. As Diallo hits the first free throw. Cummins and Roberts come in for Lightford and Pruitt. McDuffie comes out as Aquokul comes back in. Diallo's second free throw is pure. And lead is pushed back up to 11. Patterson's had the hot hand along with Standifer and DeBurgo in the second half for Lees-McRae. DeBurgo controls at the right wing. Here comes Patterson working against Cummins in the lane, off the window, over the outstretched arms of Evan Ramsey. Silky smooth handles from Cedric Patterson. He's up to 19 points. Kick out Diallo. Into the lane. Feeds it back to Ramsey. Extra pass Shelley. He steps inside the arc, comes up short, into the hands of Patterson. Standifer up ahead on the charge. And a foul is called. With Standifer crashing towards the lane, we've hit the under 8 media timeout. Foul called against Anderson Cummins. And with 7:39 to go, it is down to a 9-point lead for UVA Wise. 78-69. Bobcats crawling back into it when we return on the Eagle Sports Network. Under 8 minutes to go inside Holt Fieldhouse between UVA Wise and Lees-McRae in the South Atlantic Conference vs. Conference Carolinas Challenge. All time in this series, Lees-McRae leads 4-1. This is the 6th meeting, as it is the 6th installment of the SAC vs. CC Challenge. Lees-McRae won last year 87-82. They led by 19 at the half, was able to hold on for the win. This year, Wise flipped the script. They led by 16 at the break. And now they're trying to hold on for dear life. Led by as many as 23 in this second half. The lone win for UVA Wise was in 2022 as Standifer connects on the first free throw. Patterson checks out as Kennedy will come back in. Patterson with 19 points. That leads all scorers tonight. And Standifer hits the second. Last meeting inside this building for these two teams came in 2021, an 80-52 win for Lees-McRae. Largest margin of victory in this series between these two. Roberts doesn't watch it all the way in. It ends in the hands of Agu. DeBurgo in transition. Kick out. Kennedy rises and just comes up short, but Okokol gets the offensive board. A roof would have came off this Bobcats bench if Kennedy hit, and it was on line. DeBurgo in the lane. Through contact. Lead has dwindled down to 5. As the Bobcats have taken momentum and have taken control. 4 for their last 5, have held Wise without a bucket for the last 3 minutes. And now Roberts is called for a travel with 6:41 to go. A 6-0 run over the last minute and a half for Lees-McRae. Agu, step back, 3 on the way, too strong. Not sure if that was the shot if you were Lees-McRae. And Motley upset on the sideline as Justin Bermeo heads to the scorers table. Cummins working against DeBurgo, winces a little bit. Diallo trying to create space against Okokol. Roberts against Kennedy. And a foul is called on the floor. And Roberts will go to the line. Justin Bermeo checking in at the scorer's table as Roberts goes to the line. And Toilet bowls in his first free throw. Agu comes out, as does Kennedy. Romeo and Patterson return to the court. Motley with a good message to Romeo checking in. The calls are going to be the calls. We can't let it affect us, as Roberts rattles in both free throws. He's up to 11 points, and the full court pressure back out on display for the Highland Cavaliers. Anderson, Cummins deflects the ball, and now Patterson trying to work against Cummins as DeBurgo goes down the lane. Kick out Standifer on the bounce pass. Standifer down the lane, up with the right hand, and offensive rebound. Back up with it, Romeo won't go, and Diallo controls. They were looking for a foul call. They didn't get it. Max Lidman has checked back in. Shelley gets some space. Comes up short on three-point try. And there is Patterson. Board number 6 for number 1. 19 points. Shelley almost had the steal. Patterson, kick out Standifer. He's 3. Comes up long, poked out. And extracting it is Cummins. With 5 minutes to go, it's a 7-point lead for the Highland Cavaliers. Cummins in the lane, kick into the corner. Shelley pumps, kicks. Lidman, spot up 3, bullseye. What a burst Max Lidman has provided off the bench. 9 points, 3 for 3 from deep for the sophomore out of Sweden. Patterson working the screen, kicks out to Standifer. Okwoko, he'll draw a foul with 11 to shoot and 4:28 to go. Brett Randleman will be checking in for Lees-McRae. First free throw is hit by Okwoko. As there was another look at the foul called against Shelley. He'll check out. As Collier Pruitt comes back in. Double bonus the rest of the way for both sides. As Okwoko rattles in both free throws. Anderson, Cummins at the controls of this Wise offense. He's got 10 points. Cummins attacks downhill, and he'll draw a foul. He's trying to finish through contact. Also looking for a goaltend, but they don't call continuation there. And foul will go against Randleman. Two shots at the lineup coming for Anderson Cummins. Third trip to the line for him tonight. He's currently 4 for 4 at the stripe. And he hits the first one. There have been some bench players tonight for UVA Wise that have stepped up big. Cummins, one of them. Lidman, that big triple, probably the other one. As Cummins splits the 2 on his first miss at the stripe tonight. Patterson uses a screen, puts up the 3, off the back heel. Roberts lost it, got it back. And with 4 minutes to go, it's a 9-point advantage for Wise. Led by as many as 23 in this second half, trying to finish strong. They go back to Cummins, off bounce, and nobody on the Bobcat side can grab it. 2-on-1, drop pass to Pruitt, tries to return it back to Cummins. And now Patterson with numbers in transition. The lob back to Okwoko, and it's too high, goes out of bounds. As we hit the under 4 media timeout. Wise leading by 9. The starters head to the scorers table. as we head to a break with 3:39 left to go. It's an 84-75 lead for UVA Wise, trying to pick up win number 2 on the 2025-26 campaign. Lees-McRae trying to stage a comeback when we return on the Eagle Sports Network. Back on the Eagles Sports Network, Matt Scalzo with you. 3:39 left to go in this first game of 2 on this Saturday night in Jefferson City, Tennessee. Day 1 of the South Atlantic Conference versus Conference Carolinas Challenge. Day 2 tomorrow. Lees-McRae will take on the host Carson-Newman, and Wise will face King in the afternoon on Sunday. When talking with Coach Mellinger this week, he talked about how Wise has become more of a paint-based team. Well, they've been outscored 40-32 in terms of points in the paint this afternoon. They got a chance to hold on to a lead that was as big as 23. And it's been cut down to as many as 7. As Evan Ramsey checks back in, they go straight back to him. And his height is just too much to handle for Lees-McRae. Lead back into double figures. Maces has come back in. Here's DeBurgo. Kick out Standifer. Rises and fires on the 3. Can't connect. And the hot shooting of the Bobcats has now been locked in a freezer. They've gone ice cold. Over their last 6 from the field. 1 of their last 8. They don't have a field goal in the last 4 minutes of game time. Roberts into the lane, using just one hand. That's all he needs. Looking for another foul call as well mixed in there. But the dynamic Roberts pushes that lead up to 13. Bermeo drives inside with the right hand, draws the foul against Ramsey. As the 4th personal foul called against Evan Ramsey with 2:20 left to go in this second half. It is going to have to be a major comeback for Lees-McRae to inch back into this contest. (88-77). The lead for Wise. But Bermeo trying to complete the 3-point play and bring it back down to 10. And he gets the roll to bring it down to 10. Daniel Agu comes in, as Bermeo will head to the bench. Looking in terms of foul trouble, Ramsey and Giles, the 2 starting centers. At least Ramsey's the starter. Giles is the backup. Both got 4 fouls. As Shelley climbs the ladder, finishes through contact, the lob outside to Ramsey, and he uses the window. Pushes that advantage back up to 12. DeBurgo right down the lane. Can't finish. Poked out. Another chance for the Bobcats with under 2 to go. Have to hurry. Kennedy working against Lightford. And he will draw a foul and head to the line. Foul called against Lightford. That is his 2nd. Beats him off the dribble. Could have been called against Ramsey as well, but it'll go against Kalen Lightford. As Kennedy hits the first free throw. Bermeo comes back in as Agu will go to the bench. Cam Roberts checks out as Collier Pruitt will return. In terms of foul trouble, McDuffie and DeBurgo on the floor for Lees-McRae, both with 4 fouls. Agu's got 3, but he has since gone to the bench. Ramsey's got 4. And Diallo has 3 for Wise. Kennedy hits the second half of it as well, as McDuffie will head to the bench and Standifer checks back in. 14 points for Sean Standifer, second on the team. Trying to dissect this press. Lightford skips it to Shelley. Pruitt backs it out with Lightford. Kennedy nearly jumped in the lane for the pass. With 10 to shoot, Diallo goes outside to Shelley. Okwoko leaves his feet. Shelley contested. No foul is called. Okwoko 3-on-2 in transition. Kicks it out. Extra pass, Kennedy, the corner 3. Off the mark. Pruitt controls. A minute to go and a 10-point lead for the Highland Cavaliers. Lightford gets space, puts up the 3. Check, please. The triple rains in from Kalen Lightford, and it's a 13-point lead with 51 seconds to go. DeBurgo looks for the answer. It won't go. Ramsey with the assist from Shelley picks up the board. Lightford is fouled by Okwoko, and with 42.4 ticks left to go, it'll be 2 shots for Kalen Lightford. Another look at it. Standifer goes low on the dribble handoff from Diallo. And Kalen Lightford makes him pay with his second 3 of the night. First trip at the line for him. And he misses. But Lightford, one of those savvy veterans and returners that Mellinger and this Wise staff have been so impressed with in the offseason, taking another step forward in their development as he splits the 2, and it's up to a 14-point lead. Patterson back in. Kick out Romeo. He looks for the 3. He can't get it. Whistles and a foul will be called against Standifer for a push in the back, leading to 2 shots on the other end with exactly 30 seconds to go in this second half. Deshaun Motley looking on in this second half. They trailed by as many as 23 did the Bobcats. Brought it down to 8, but just couldn't find that extra gear and get that extra bucket. As Lidman will check in place of Ramsey. Pruitt comes back in. Shelley checks out. As Lightford hits both. And off the foot of Lightford. With 29 seconds to go. Shot clock is dark. It won't be on for the rest of this contest. And a 16-point lead for the Highland Cavaliers. And a timeout will be taken for a challenge with 29 seconds to go in a 16-point ball game. They are going to be challenging if it who's out of bounds on last. And it comes from Blake Mellinger challenging that call. And Archie Whaley will head over, puts the headset on, and he'll be talking with Ian Johnson, who's been the director of tonight's broadcast. Jay West run a replay, so those 3 will put their heads together and try and figure it out. See if we can get a look as well. Tony Wisnat and Samantha Galloway round out the referee crew for tonight. As a reminder, Game 2 of Day 1 in the South Atlantic Conference versus Conference Carolinas Challenge tipping off later tonight was set for 7:30 on the schedule. Well, it's 7:33 local time, so that game won't be starting on time between Carson-Newman and King. Adam Cavalier will have the call for you on the Eagle Sports Network and on radio as well. And a quick review. And the call will stand as it was. Lees-McRae ball with 29 ticks left to go. DeBurgo down the lane, challenged by Diallo, and he's fouled. Another look at it here. Diallo just reaches in with that arm. That's his fourth foul. Diallo's got a double-double, 16 points to go along with 10 rebounds. He's also got 6 assists on the night. Got to be impressed with his play. The star transfer that has elevated this Wise team as DeBurgo hits on the first free throw. In this second half, DeBurgo's got 8. Make it 9 as he hits the second half of it, and a timeout taken by Lees-McRae with 22.9 seconds to go. We'll keep it here on the Eagle Sports Network. Looking at the game as a whole, Evan Ramsey leads the way for Wise, 18 points, 9 rebounds. He is not on the floor currently. As for Lees-McRae leading all scorers, it is Cedric Patterson with 19 points, 7 rebounds on an 8 for 12 night shooting. Looking ahead for both of these teams, as bearing a miraculous 14-point comeback in 22.9 seconds, Wise will likely improve to 2-1 on the year, and Deshaun Motley will drop his first game as a head coach at Lees-McRae. Towards tomorrow, Wise tips off at 1 p.m. against King, who takes on Carson-Newman in about 30-ish minutes time, roughly. And then Lees-McRae will take on Carson-Newman at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Full court press is on. Roberts triggers the inbound, and he gets it to Lightford, but a foul is called on the floor. And so Kalen Lightford will walk 94 feet for 2 shots as the foul is called against Nigel Okwoko. Lightford's got 9 points on the night. He'll stay there as his first free throw rattles in and out. And he swishes in the second. Got to be honest, that sound never gets old of a free throw swishing through in that manner. Smooth drive down the lane from Standifer. Can't finish. Ball last touched out of bounds by Lees-McRae, and Deshaun Motley waving his arms, saying no fouls. Let's just get through this one. As Wise will improve to 2-1 on the season. Full court press is on. Roberts up ahead to Diallo, and an extra pass to Pruitt. He will dribble this one out, and Wise will improve to 2-1 as they take down Lees-McRae 97-82 to kick off the 2025 version of the South Atlantic Conference vs. Conference Carolinas Challenge. The SAC is 1-0 to start the night. Game 2 coming up in about 30 minutes time between Carson-Newman and King. Adam Cavalier will have the call. Wrapping up tonight's broadcast here. Cedric Patterson leads all scorers with 19 points. Ramsey charging ahead for UVA Wise with 18. Well, that'll do it for tonight's broadcast. UVA Wise improves to 2-1. Lees-McRae drops their opener. They fall to 0-1, but Deshaun Motley going to be impressed with the fight from his team that trailed by as many as 23, brought it down to 8, but ultimately didn't have enough baskets to go their way, as Wise able to crawl ahead and take it 97-82. As Carson-Newman sets up to make its season debut against King as they take the floor. Well, that'll do it for tonight's broadcast. I've been Matt Scalzo. Our director was Ian Johnson. Replay was Jay West. A special thanks to all our camera operators as well. Adam Cavalier will have the call of Carson-Newman and King coming up in about 24 minutes time here on the Eagle Sports Network. I'm Matt Scalzo saying so long from Holt Fieldhouse.